Today on this episode, we bring you 3 more vessels that are both amazing and bizarre looking. And what better way to start off this episode than to talk about Stubby? Let's begin. First nicknamed Stubby because of her appearance, she was actually known as the MV Stewart J Cort. The Cort, or Stubby, had to be built this way for a few reasons. This was in order for her to pass through the St. Lawrence Seaway and the Welland Canal locks. The Stewart first started out at 182 feet in length, and she was also 75 feet in width. These dimensions helped her pass through up to the lakes in 1971, where the Stewart was also cut apart and an additional 818 feet midsection was added to her in Erie, Pennsylvania. After this, the Stewart J Cort would be known as the first 1,000-footer to serve on the Great Lakes. After becoming the first 1,000-footer to serve on the Great Lakes and being created, the Stewart J Cort would actually also be the first and only 1,000-footer with the pilot house forward. Additionally, all the crew accommodations are also in the forward section on the Cort as well. The Cort has a carrying capacity of 58,000 gross tons, again her length being 1,000 feet. Her hull depth is 49, and she has a beam of 105. The Stewart J Cort serves to this day on the Great Lakes, and she is both an amazing and bizarre-looking vessel. I have seen her with my own eyes, and I do very much enjoy seeing her every time we visit up north. The Cort also has a regular route carrying iron ore between Superior, Wisconsin and Burns Harbor, Indiana. I hope this vessel continues to have a long and successful career across the Great Lakes, serving for the Interlake Steamship Company. The next vessel on our list would be in a series of turret steamers. William Doxford and Sons Ltd. Of Sunderland, England would go on to build 176 turret steamers. This was also between 1892 and 1911. Number 12 of these vessels was completed in 1895 and was known as the Turret Cape. The Turret Cape had a length of 253 feet. She had a width of 44 and a depth of 19. She was equipped with a triple expansion steam engine, and she had a gross registered tonnage of 1,827 tons. The Turret Cape would go on to be acquired in 1904 by the Canadian Lake and Ocean Navigation Company of Toronto. In 1911, on November 18th, the Turret Cape would actually ground on Cove Island in Lake Huron. She would then be salvaged the following year by the Reed Wrecking Company. She was then repaired at Collingwood and then re-entered service in June of 1912. The management of Turret Cape was then taken over in 1913 by Canada Steamship Lines Ltd., and she was brought into Canadian registry in 1915. In her early days, the Turret Cape would spend her time transporting cargoes of coal. The Turret Cape would go through several refittings, along with several different ownerships in her service career. Her final purchase and ownership was in 1949 by Captain R. Scott. This would be for his Sarnia Steamships Company, and she would also be brought back into service after being out of service for many years. She would receive a refitting again at Port Colborne, and she would then be renamed to the Walter Inkster, and this was in 1950. In her final years, the Inkster would have very limited service runs on the Great Lakes. When she was being used, it would be in shuttling grain screenings from the Canadian Lakehead to Duluth Superior. This was in 1950 to 1951. These 2 seasons would actually see a huge quantities of screenings move to Duluth Superior. The reasoning for this at the time was for a good price for the screenings in Duluth. The Inkster would finally lay idle at Fort William from 1952 to 1955. She would then be sold in 1956 to A. Newman and Company, St. Catharines, and this would be for a scrapping. She would make her way and sail under her own power to Toronto with grain, and then again be laid up on July 1st of 1956. This was in Muir's Pond in Port Louis, if I'm saying that correctly. She would finally be scrapped there during the summer of 1959. The last ship on our list for amazing and bizarre-looking vessels would be that of the Imperial Cornwall. She was a member of the Imperial Oil Fleet for over 41 years. When she was built, she was known as the Acadolite, and she was launched at the Furnace Shipbuilding Company yard at Haverton Hill in England in 1930. The Cornwall had a length of 250 feet. She had a width of 43 and the depth of 17. She also had a gross registered tonnage of 1,991 tons, and she again came equipped with a triple expansion steam engine. The Cornwall came equipped with 10 tanks, and this was for transporting different kinds of petroleum. She could carry a 21,500 barrel capacity aboard her. The Cornwall was made for trading through the locks of the Welland Canal and the old St. Lawrence canals. She would operate mostly out of Imperial Oil docks at Sarnia or Montreal most of her time. The Cornwall was a very busy ship. When another one of the fleet's tankers, the Imperial Kingston, was sold and then cut down to a barge in 1960, the Cornwall would actually receive the other steamer's more modern bridge structure, and this was to replace her own. The Cornwall was retired on February 11th of 1971, and she was then replaced at Halifax by the Imperial Dartmouth. She was sold to Steel Factors Ltd., and then resold to Louisville General Enterprises. The tug R.F. Grant would then tow the hull to Louisville, Quebec. The Cornwall would serve as a floating dock there for some time. The last known and possible fate of the Cornwall was that she was believed to have been broken up on the St. Lawrence, and then her Canadian registry was closed in October of 1981. I thank you all so very much in joining me again on another episode of amazing and bizarre-looking vessels that have come and gone on the Great Lakes. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you have any other additional information or pronunciation corrections, I always welcome all of that extra help, as again, I am not a perfect know-it-all, but I do give my heart and soul into each and every one of these videos that I put out for you guys. Thank you again so very much, everyone, for just helping this channel grow and showing me the interest in these ships, not just shipwrecks, but their amazing history and maritime history across the Great Lakes. I will continue to do this, and keep this channel growing strong. And I look forward to future episodes and what's to come. Again, if you guys are interested, don't forget to check out the link to the merchandise website. And just thank you again so very much for all your help and support. And as always, God bless you all, and look forward to the next episode on Songs of the Great Lakes.